Hey, welcome in. We are glad that you have joined us for another episode of Beyond Hiawatha. The miracle lives on, and man, does it live on. We have been able to listen to some really unique stories from the past and hear from some people who have been a part of Hiawatha for a really long time, which has been so awesome. But we are so excited for the future of Hiawatha. And God has graciously given to us, for the first time in history, our own place and space, owned and operated completely by Hiawatha Youth Camp. And it's just such a gift of God. And we're excited and grateful. And we have with us today someone who can probably speak better about the past, the present, and the future of Hiawatha than just about anybody else. And that's because we are excited to have my sister-in-law, the first lady of Hiawatha Youth Camp. I remember mom being called that so often. And but now it is Lora Walker. So Laura, welcome in, and it's good to be sitting across the table from you. And we are excited to have you, and just thanks for setting aside some time. Yeah, you are very welcome. So we are going to start out though by talking with Laura because her ministry with Hiawatha spans a few decades. I hate to say it. I know she doesn't look it, but she's been around for a minute. And so I want to start like we start with everybody, Laura, and that is what is your first memory of landing on Hiawatha grounds?
Yeah, I was 17 and we had just relocated to a different part of the state, and then the new church we were going to attended Hiawatha. So I was from Suburban Bible Church in Indiana, and our youth pastor, Chuck and Dee Lindstrom,
Hmm.
would get us all in the car, or in the bus, and there was like 40 or 50 of us, I think, and we would drive all the way to the UP, and so we would always go a week that had a lot of campers. I think there's like 120 kids that week I went. And long 12-hour bus drive, and going down the dirt road, you're thinking, this is safe. I don't really know what I'm getting myself into. But it was a great week. Ellen Baker was my counselor, who
Yep.
is now Ellen Hobson, and she's still 40 years later one of my best friends. And yeah, there's so many kids. I was in the auxiliary cabin with 14 girls.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
There were people.
So Ellen had to have 14 counselor talks?
She was Cheryl Shishin.
Wow,
She was a staff person. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going back a minute.
Yeah.
And so you were a camper for how many years?
Just 2 years.
Okay. And then you wind up on staff. How did that go?
Well, I didn't have any intentions of being on staff, actually. It was my freshman year at Moody, and this is actually kind of a funny story. This was before cell phones, obviously. So your dad called my dorm room, and my roommate answered, and so I wasn't in the room, and so I was down the hall, and she just came tearing after me. She's like, Laura, you've got to get in here. You have a phone call. I'm like, okay, well, who is it? She goes, I'm not sure. It could be God. I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna want to take that call. And it was your dad, but his voice, she goes, who is that? And he's like, I speak to Laura Walker, for Laura Little, and it was quite funny. But so yeah, they needed a lifeguard that summer, and I was a lifeguard, and so I was like, okay, I'll come. So that's kinda how it started. So,
Yeah, that's funny. Because we actually in that time period too, we had a ton of kids from suburban
yes.
on staff. I mean,
Carrie staff.
yeah, and they were Miss Hiawathas,
Yes.
like for the year. And before them, was it maybe their Patty McGee was
Yes.
from suburban.
It was.
And so yeah, suburban had a lot of
Greg Robinson and Eric Robinson.
yes. Yes, Eric Robinson was like Martin Short of the Hiawatha staff. Oh my goodness, I do remember that guy. He was hilarious. He was. That is awesome. So the era that we're talking about is like mid 80s.
Yeah, and my first year was 85.
Yeah, okay. Um, co-captain?
Yes, I was absolutely co-captain. Gordy Basquette.
Oh yeah,
And
bless his heart, Gordy.
yeah, we were Gordy's gophers
Okay.
and we were terrible. We lost. But, I think we lost. I don't even remember who we lost to. I want to say it was Dave Wright's team, but I can't remember. And then I was with Keith Berquist. I
Okay.
think was the other one.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
I don't
that's
think I won
that
either
is
time.
quite the era. So, oh, that's pretty cool. So back in that time period, and you can include camper staff, whichever, just that stretch of time. Um, Speakers, messages. I mean, is there anything like that that you still hang on to, recall?
Funny, I mean, as a camper, I had Colonel McGuckin.
Oh wow,
And
yeah.
but the only thing I remember is like
Chapakara, yeah. Yeah, his plane taking off.
plane stuff. That's so funny. But as far as speakers that ministered to me, of course, the California guys were all great. Milo, Charlie, but Ron Hafer's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, the testimony of how his family accepted Christ was just incredibly funny and so relatable. And I just felt he was really funny, but then he knew how to drive home, what it was. And probably later in life, I love Brad Jerkovich. I just he has such a passion for the Lord and for people to get their lives changed. He was always very challenging to me.
Yeah.
That's why I always picked
him. Yeah. So yeah. Well, he's and he used to end a lot of his messages even with "Take the challenge, be the light."
Yes, exactly.
So a few weeks ago, actually, when your sister-in-law ended the service by giving announcements, she actually said, "Be the light," or something like that at the end. So I texted Brad immediately. I'm just like, your legacy still lives on. And and we had him on actually the podcast a little while ago. And so yeah, that's really cool. That's great. Interestingly though, you do have different eras of life. You've got that early camping experience, and then when you're first on staff.
Yeah.
But then, for reasons beyond understanding, you started dating my brother.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Well, and Dad was definitely trying to help him out, I think, a little bit. He would look the other, no couples on staff except for my son and Laura Little. That one's fine. But yeah, I know you guys had started dating and that kind of thing. It was a little bit of a long distance, but then you graduate from Moody, and again, I should know and remember more of this than I do, but Dad figures out, you know what, we could use Laura here.
Yeah.
So he pulled you into Southgate. When is that? After graduation? I mean, right after or a couple of years after?
He actually talked to me before I graduated, like I come up for youth on the March.
Yeah.
I had that March. And so he had talked to me. He's like, what are you doing after graduation? And I was toying with the idea of going back to school and finishing my master's. And so I'm like, not really sure. And so he's like, well, would you be interested in coming here and working at the church and being a children's director? And I was like, So, and always in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I still keep coming to camp, I don't know. Cause my experience at camp on staff was life changing for me. And so I just knew that was a place that I could shine and I could minister and I could be used. And so, so I told him I could.
Yeah. And I hate to rewind just a little bit, but you just mentioned how impactful your time at Hiawatha was in those years. You were already at Moody when you got called to be on staff, but what are some of the things that God was like speaking to you about and saying to you in those, really formative years that helped not only define, I mean, it didn't just define the next few years, but for you, it has defined somewhat the rest of your life.
I think I was just a normal kid. I wasn't a singer, I didn't play an instrument, I wasn't a great athlete. I was just a normal kid, but I have a servant's heart. And I was like, how can God use me?
Yeah.
And your dad had this unique ability of taking a bunch of ordinary kids and that his expectations for us were very high. You know, here's your job, here's the typed out list of what this job entails, and you're going to do it. And we were all on an equal playing field. We all raked leaves together. We all washed dishes together. We all sang, even though you couldn't sing, you sang anyways. We did everything together, and you had this sense of community, I guess. And I felt he took us ordinary kids and we did something extraordinary.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, well, God can use me.
Yeah.
If I'm willing to be a part of something, I can do this. And your mom had mentioned to Billy's like, that Laura, she knows how to clean toilets. And so I was like, oh, thank you. But as small as that is, that was one of my jobs. And
Yeah.
Billy's like, then you do that to the glory of God, you know. And I remember specifically one night I was working in the kitchen with Happy. It was a Saturday night. We had like 200 people there. We had concert, probably the Spear family, hundreds of kids. And Happy brought us all together and she just said, listen, she goes, what happens on that platform is no more important than what happens in this kitchen. And she said, so every plate you wash, every plate of food you serve, every toilet you scrub is all part of the package. Because she said, and we're going to do it. Whatever thing you do, you're going to do the glory of the Lord. And she's like, because when people come in and they have a good meal and they go into a clean bathroom and they have a good service, it all works together. And we were like, she's like, you know, and she's got her flower on her glasses and her dirty apron. And she's like, so this is what we're going to do. So you didn't really have a choice. But I mean, it just made me realize that, you know, everything that I can do, I can honor the Lord and I can be used. And so when I was up there, I just felt like it increased my confidence. It increased my view of ministry. I mean, you've never worked so hard in your life. I mean, never so tired, but never had so much fun. So I think it's hard for parents to let their kids come be on staff, but yet they don't understand the character building and the problem solving and the critical thinking and the getting along with difficult people. I mean, it's all part of making you who you are. And I'm a different person because of it, I think.
Yeah. I cannot imagine how many times I have used the line, thought of the line, even thought of it in my own personal life where there's a job to be done. Don't be afraid to get dirty. And I just am constantly reminded of that. And while, of course, my ministry has taken me more in line with the church aspect of what Dad and Grandpa did, that part of it was in the fabric of Hiawatha Youth Camp.
For sure.
And every staff member, no matter what their giftedness was, no matter how athletic they were, all of that paled in comparison to pick up a mop, get a vacuum, clean a toilet, and it just it bodes well for those that learn that lesson early on, and you just hang on to it the rest of your life. And Dad never, I mean, until he got older and could not, he never stopped doing just the ordinary things that he could, you know.
He
And
led by example.
yeah, I mean, he loved to get out and do stuff on the grounds and in the yard. And, you know, with some of these guys that I'm talking to way back at the beginning, he's the one that's taking them around to get the trash. And, you know, they thought that was like a big deal. Dad gets a trailer and they all drive to the bear dump. And it's like, good grief. But yeah, it was part of the fabric of Hiawatha. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so let's move ahead now. You get married. So now you're in a different era, so to speak. And so in that era, and especially maybe the era of when your kids are young, what's the impact? Who's impacting that part of Hiawatha?
Well, I think when we were first married, I was still working, so wasn't there quite as much. But I mean, staff members were incredible during, I mean, that was the Brian and Jonathan Slocum, Jared Rod,
Yeah.
Tom Roberts, DJ Malone,
Ryan Krieger.
I was thinking that, did you remember?
Oh my goodness.
He got his suit.
Yes,
that lime green
at the Salvation Army.
That he got at the Salvation
Army. And he wore it for a Saturday celebration. Yeah.
It was kids that completely rocked it out, but like those guys, SNL was never as good as it was during that generation.
Yeah, they were pretty funny.
Yeah, but fast forward to when my kids were little, that was the whole Collins, Petrovich, Barker era.
Yeah.
Those guys. And
yeah, Max still wanted to be Nick Barker.
Oh, Max attached himself to Nick when he was like 2. And fast forward over 20 years, Max still can pick up he'll call Nick and Nick will answer the phone. And as a mom, that is so cool. Really cool. They're very patient with my boys who were, little boys. And but that, I think the counseling during there got to be so good. Those guys just really had a heart for ministry. And you just saw them really caring about the campers and caring about decisions that were made and caring about their devotions. And, I think it was also during that time we had the band, we started the band, instead of having the choir, we did the band. And, you had all the Carpenter kids. They were also talented musically. And that was a big jump, which I thought was really cool. We're starting to, it was a little bit before the praise and worship stuff, but, we were kind of getting into that era. But yeah, just the memories of my kids growing up there, and they'll tell you that they would have never picked a different childhood. It was the best, So that was always super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure that they would have their own unique perspective on Hiawatha.
Yeah.
But it is amazing to me that for both of them, they still reflect on those years.
Oh, yeah.
They still reflect on Grandpa. And Mason, and we're not going to get into it right now, but he's got Miracle Building 2.0 already pretty much sketched out. I'm not sure if he did it on a napkin at a restaurant, but he's got a dream, and it's Hiawatha Foundation.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. So at some point in there, we had already stepped in to the role of pastoring the church here, but we did that Dad was definitely getting older, and it was getting hard for him to do everything. But I'm sure that there's a part of him that was like, well, I've still got the camp. Yeah. And then it just kind of became obvious that it was like, there was a year in there where, Tamara and my wife were running things because, Lori was in that, and they figured everything out, and Dad was still there. He was still, but he just physically and he just wasn't quite up to stuff. So at some point, Craig has to begin to think, okay, my brother's not going to do this. So what's that conversation like with you? Because I'm guessing that before that ever became a thing, there was a discussion between the two of you. And what was your thought process in that?
I have always been, let's do Hiawatha 100%. That has never been a problem for me. And I think it's always been a problem not a problem, but it's always scared Craig. He's like, I can't do what my dad did, Yeah. And I said, God's not calling you to do that. Yeah. He's calling you to be you, because I said the camp's going into a new era. Things need to be changed. And I said, you're the perfect person for it. And I believe that with all my heart. During this last 12 years, he's the only one that should have been in charge to handle all of the ups and downs that we come through. Yeah. And he's very wise. I know that surprises some people, but he really is. And so yeah, I've always been 100%. Let's do it. I'm in. So that's never been a problem for me.
Yeah. And I think actually part of his nervousness just shows also a part of his wisdom.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever think he's all that in a bag of chips. Never assumes that he's going to do it better than dad or anything like that, but just trying to do the next best thing for Hiawatha as those steps have been presented. And yeah, you're right. There have been some crossroads and some forks in the road, so to speak, where he's had to make a call, and it's not been the easiest. But he's made it, and he made the right one.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that anyone else. In fact, I've been told by very good people. I mean, good people who are in ministry and all that kind of thing. They're like, yeah, no way. You'd have never. That had to be your brother. And so and because of that, we now find ourselves in this again, little nerve-wracking, but man, it's a totally new era of Hiawatha because with all of the years that we had at Pine Lake, and they were nothing short of awesome. I mean, they just were. But still, in all that time period, going back the whole 60 years of dad, and then well beyond that with my grandfather running camps, we never owned the property. Put up the buildings, but we didn't own the property. And then of course we went to Bambi, and gracious that God allowed us a place that we could continue the ministry, and actually the ministry flourished. Yeah. And I mean, this past summer was I don't know the last time that Hiawatha was sold out,
the last time we told
so to speak.
I'm sorry,
You can't come. Yeah.
I know.
And that even lends itself a little bit into what makes this new era so interesting and exciting, because we were slightly limited at Bambi because of the space. And so now it's like, you know what, if we need another set of cabins, okay, well, that's the goal then. We're gonna have to build another set of cabins. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But we are in this space where now Hiawatha owns the property, and God graciously basically gave that to Hiawatha, which is another miracle that we can talk about. But so I know I don't even have to ask you what your excitement level is, because I know it's off the charts, but just share with me what is a little bit of the dream and the goal, and the first time you stepped out and saw it. Where did your mind go?
Well, we'd really prayed before we went, because Craig, we've just been disappointed about, constantly being disappointed. And I didn't really want my kids were still grieving. And as a mom, I'm like, I can suck it up. But unfortunately, watching my kids grieve, I mean, they lost their papa, they lost the Miracle Building, we had to move. All that was just very traumatic for my children. And so I was very cautious. I was like, oh gosh, this is another thing to look forward to, and is it not going to work? And so Craig and I had really prayed that God would show us, give us a sense of peace, or let us know without a shadow of a doubt that this is going to be it. And so we went over there, and as soon as I stepped out of the car, I was like, this is home. And I don't know why. It just felt like us. It felt like our ministry would work here. It felt like it felt more like what we like to work with as far as how it looks. And it's very lots of trees, and just, I mean, then you're thinking, oh, we could put this here. And your mind just starts. And I'm a planner, so all of a sudden I've got like plans just going crazy in my head. And so it was just really, really great. And then to listen to Rich and hear his story, and how we were so compassionate about his story, because we've been through kind of the same heartache. And so we just felt like we just really wanted to be able to make this work for their sake as much as ours, that it would continue to be a ministry where, kids are getting reached and people's lives are being changed and things like that. So yeah, it was immediate for me. I was like, this is it. This is it.
Yeah. So. And I think I can't. it's hard to explain because I have a little different perspective on it, being your brother-in-law and seeing you and Craig on a weekly, basis, sometimes with him a daily basis. Um, but uh, the last 2 or 3 years, while God has been gracious in the ministry portion of it, um, I had told him, I'm like, well, you said it best. There's been a bit of a grieving process.
Yeah.
Because when you've spent as many summers, a lifetime of summers,
Yeah.
in one spot, in one space, you can't help but think that's home. And so giving, letting that space go, was really tough, even though God, again, grace, but even though God was blessing the ministry,
Yeah.
there was just still that personal, and I know that both of you had to kind of hold your feelings a little bit, especially while they were in the process of seeing if this was going to work. But I've commented to more than one person that there's a spark back in their eyes, and there's just a sense of excitement of what can be, even though this now takes on a whole new level of responsibility and that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like, we're excited, or you're excited and nervous.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yay. And then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it needs a lot of work, and we need a lot of finances and everything. So, but part of me is not worried about it, I don't think, because I mean, how God has completely orchestrated everything thus far.
Yeah.
And but the urgency of our ministry is so prevalent right now, which makes it even more important for people to understand why we need this to go and why we need it to work now, and just the suicide rate and of the kids and addictions and all that kind of stuff they're dealing with right now. They have to have a sense of place to go, and we can be that, and so the urgency for us to have our ministry next summer is really important, for that reason. And gosh, it made such a huge impact on my life, and if we can continue to do that for multiple other teenagers, it's going to be great.
Even just we went through a pandemic, and so many of those young people are still kind of coping with that isolation that occurred from that. And then they basically said that out of that pandemic, now you've got like a mental health crisis, which a lot of our young people are going through. And makes the impact and the need for Hiawatha that much greater. And it's kind of unique, because before there was a suburban Bible bringing that many kids to camp, and supplying that many staff members, there was a First Baptist Church of Allegan. And that was the church that was bringing busloads of kids to Hiawatha. So now we wind up like in the backyard of that.
They were always there. That when I was a camper, Allegan was always there.
Huh.
Yeah. So, and I knew Mayhew's.
Yeah.
Because their son was
Nate.
I think he was on staff.
Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe even Lois. I don't know. I mean, Lois was there for a while too. That's her older sister, but
yeah, that church, they were always there when we came. So that's why the week was so big. We'd bring they'd bring like 50.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so because mom and dad were very good friends with Pastor and Mrs. Mayhew, and so 3 of their kids wound up on staff, and I know that one of them wound up working with, I think, Larry Coy, and then Samaritan's Purse. Anyhow, it was just the intersection of people, and you can even go back farther than that, because the original owners of the White House were friends of my grandparents, the Linderholms. That would have been Mrs. Mayhew's parents. And they were really good friends with my grandparents. And so it's just kind of funny that, we wind up kind of now in neck of the woods. But it's also really cool because we have had an influx of campers from the west side of the state. So it's going to make it a whole lot easier for them.
One of the good things about being at Bambi that we realized is geography.
Yeah, makes a difference.
Parents were like, I can bring them back for a second week.
Yeah.
Because it's not so far. And so we just really feel where we're landing now over there is going to be crucial. There's so many churches in that area. And Craig's got such a vision for Hiawatha. It's not just the youth camp.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Expand. Tamara's got her heart for ministry for some things and doing family camps. And I'd love to do women's ministries. And, Craig's like, we need to be doing pastors' conferences and staff retreats and all kinds of things. So, and then also keep our youth ministry part going. And we just really feel like we could make a huge difference in that community.
Yeah.
So location is definitely a thing.
Well, and imagine, because again, geography being what it is, at some point or another, and this is partly post 9/11, people stopped sending kids hours and hours away.
Yeah,
I mean, we used to have kids that came from even Georgia, the Ken Can brought his kids up there one year. But you got past that era and it was just like, yeah, we're going to pull that back a little bit. But man, the location that we're in now, I mean, it would be no problem for a church like Suburban to send their young people. So you've got a whole Indiana, Illinois,
Wisconsin.
Close to Wisconsin. And yeah, there's just a geography effect that does definitely make a difference. And I do think that is, and we never know until we get to heaven. And when you get to eternity, then it's kind of like, you don't even care because you're like, oh, this is incredible. But I do think that we were so comfortable at Pyatt because that was our life. I mean, it's just, I realized and I'm in that 6 decades range now. I know I don't look it, but I realized this past summer, first time I have not crossed the Mackinac Bridge in my life. And I've had conversations with people that are like, you cross that thing? And it's like, well, yeah, I've been crossing it hundreds of times. It's just no big deal. You don't think about it. And so it just became so much a part of our life. We'd have never even thought, and it's almost like God had to do all that in order for the multitude of kids whose lives were impacted this past summer, in order for those decisions to be made. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't talk to me. It was before we realized we were leaving because God had told him we were leaving. And I was just like, no, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm telling you, this is really what I feel is happening. And that's really where I feel that maybe God is leading us. And so it's not so much moving the ministry because we can see that was leaving my cabin.
Oh, yeah.
And, with your mom and our family legacy of just being there and everything. And it's good for Morgan. It was handicap accessible. I could take her there and it was safe. And so for me, I realize now it's like, I'm comfortable there and I'm safe there. And then I think the Lord started saying, okay, don't really care about you being comfortable. Sometimes it's, if I want the ministry to expand, I need you to move.
Yeah.
And I need you to grow and I need you to maybe be uncomfortable. And so that's kind of where we've been, uncomfortable but we're being obedient.
Yeah.
And so do I want to stand before the Lord and say, oh, thank you for my cabin? Or do I want to stand before the Lord and have him say, well, done, because that's what I wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And so that's where me personally, I've been really struggling with because, I feel like I need a place for Morgan,
Yeah.
But having said that, I think taking Morgan up there has been a gift on both sides because so many staff members have become attached to her, through the years. And then I think it's also been good for staff members that haven't been around special kids to be around Morgan and be like, no, it's just Morgan. It's okay. She's different. Yeah. And it's okay. So I think that's been a win-win on both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was probably the hardest thing for me was leaving my cabin.
Yeah.
But
now you can make access for Morgan wherever you want to.
yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll make it Morgan accessible. No doubt, no doubt.
It'll take her a while to get used to it. She's like a new place again. Because Bambi was hard for her. She was like, yeah, this isn't the same place. She's smart. She's like,
Yeah.
this is not
Oh,
the
she
same
is.
place.
Yeah. No, and again, for her, I mean, that was 20 some years
Yeah,
of every summer.
She
You know,
knew
so there's
Miracle Village,
yeah.
she knew our cabin, she
Yeah.
knew, yeah. And so it's been challenging for her too. So.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And just that adds, and you know, we didn't even, and maybe we need to do a part two on this sometime, Laura, because we didn't even cover that um uh aspect of things. But I mean, you know, your life got thrown a curve, no doubt, when you had a diagnosis of what Morgan had. And at that point in time, nobody had ever heard of it. You only had like 1,500 cases of Angelman's. Now it's a little it's much more talked about and people understand that this is what maybe their kids have and that kind of thing. But man, back in the day when she was going through that, it was new.
Yeah.
And that was tough on the two of you. But again, maybe that's for another episode. Because that would be a long story. Yeah, but a good one. A good one. Man, she has made such a difference. I will I'm so sorry the way my mind works, but I will share just a brief story. I'll remember in that period and thereafter, One Voice is traveling.
Yeah.
So we're going all over. And actually, when Craig would share that story, there'd be a lineup of people, you know, might not have that same story, but they'd line up to talk to you guys because of what you were going through and that kind of thing. And I remember one time I shared the fact that she had angel. I said something about how it's called Angelman's because, you know, when she left, she looks angelic. And
Yeah.
Craig comes up to me afterwards. He goes, the guy who discovered this is named Angelman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
That's Dr. Angel.
yeah, Dr. Angel. Yeah, that was it. It's like, okay, I'm just going to stop trying to tell that story. We'll leave it up to you. Oh my goodness. But no, she's been such a, she does, it's interesting. She lights up a room when she comes in there. And well, I mean, it's, she has a presence, just like other members of the family. And
she's definitely a walker.
but she's got it, and she's got some influence. I cannot wait for the conversations in heaven that we have with Morgan, because she will have some stories.
And I know she tries to tell me stuff now, and I'm just like, we can have this conversation later.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, and she's bigger than mom now, so that makes it tough too. You've had to have a shoulder surgery or two because of that. But such an awesome era in front of us, but not without responsibility.
Yes.
In fact, heavier responsibility probably than the two of you have seen from a financial standpoint in the whole time that we've been at Hiawatha. You've been directing it.
Yeah.
So just talk a little bit about that, and maybe even if people want to, how they can help fund what is happening on the west side of the state and the opening of Hiawatha 2.0.
Yeah, definitely. There's things that have to be done this fall due to weather, that we need to get done. And the cabins are in great shape, but I mean, maybe we're just a little bit of a bougie camp, but I need a bathroom. So,
Sure.
we just, that's that kind of stuff, but we just don't have enough buildings for the activities that we need. We don't have an auditorium. We don't have places for our married staff. We don't even have a place for Craig and I to stay. So, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And so we could have camp, but we probably wouldn't be able to have room for any of the help. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that need to be done. But I guess my heart or my request would be, if Hiawatha has changed your life, We need this ministry.
Yeah.
It's crucial for us
Yeah.
to have this ministry. Kids are dying and we can't, I mean, there's no excuse for it. I mean, I think you just said you did a funeral of a 22-year-old that committed suicide
Yeah.
not too long. That
Yeah.
should not be happening.
Yeah.
You know, these kids, they're getting false information. I don't care what side of the fence you're on, there's false information out there. And, you know, we've got the truth.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that they needed, but we need the buildings up to be able to do what we need to do.
Yep.
So, yeah, and then so many people have been volunteering. I'm heading over there this weekend with a couple of girlfriends, and we're gonna do some work, and they're bringing this, you know, some of our stuff from Bambi, and we're gonna try to get some things done, but we just need people to pray, and we just need financial support as well.
Need people to give. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So one of the easiest things that you can do, folks, is just go to hiawathayouthcamp.com, and there are pages there that will share with you some of the memories of Hiawatha this past summer, share with you a bit of the dream of Hiawatha in the future, but also give you opportunity to share and be a part of what is happening at Hiawatha. We have had a ministry for 60 plus years. And truthfully, I think that both Dad and Craig would say that pledge partners have been the backbone of that ministry. They give month after month, and we appreciate that. And if you would like to be a part of that, that is available to you. But also those people who just contribute, especially when there are needs like this. A miracle building was built on the backs of people who gave and funded that building and that ministry. Cabins were built, and camp happened, and thousands of people were ministered to. And the impact of Hiawatha, you know, Laura, as you know, is not just felt by the people that are at Hiawatha, it's felt by the people that those people affect. And the worldwide impact of Hiawatha Youth Camp continues to this day. And that's some of the story that we get the opportunity to share on this podcast. So I would like to thank you, Laura, for coming on here and sharing your heart. And she was worried that, you know, this would be really short and she wouldn't have anything to say. And here we are 42 minutes in. So I think we did well, but no, I appreciate it much. And we do encourage you, if you're able, check out that website and be a part of what God is doing, and a part of even Hiawatha 2026, because we are excited about the potential and need your help to make it happen. So hopefully you will be part of that, and just consider that and pray about that. And we look forward to sharing with you on further podcasts what God is doing and how things are coming along there. But in the meantime, I hope that you are already a subscriber. If you're not, hit that subscribe button down at the bottom, and it will let you know when these new podcasts are available, so that you can jump on and listen in to how God has impacted lives through Hiawatha and how it continues to make a difference today. So thank you so much for listening. Have yourselves a wonderful day. God bless.